Welcome to Southern River Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, fitness, introduce you to some celebrities throughout the greater La Crosse area. And today, three really highly sought-after celebrities from the nationally known Viterbo Volleyball program. Head coach Ryan DeLong, along with freshman Maya Roberts and senior Natalie Geidel. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks for having us.
Wasn't too long ago, I opened up the paper one morning, and Viterbo Volleyball, #1 in the nation. What a pleasant way to start my day. I think the second time in the history of a program at Viterbo, and it happened to be your program, by the way, in 2015, that received that national acclaim. Boy, was that ever special.
Yeah, it's neat for our program. It's neat for the university and the community. It's special for these girls. You know, maybe not right now, but you know, after the season and we look back at things, to have that chance to be rated #1, it's special. Now we want it to be at the end of the year, but anytime it's a pretty special event for us.
Well, I know you do, and when you think of Viterbo, of course, you think of a lot of different things, servant leadership, and you name it, but you think of volleyball, they're kind of synonymous. So as we tape the show, you just recently defeated University of Jamestown in a really tough match, I think 3-2. Both our guests, our athletes, were profiled in the article because having exceptional matches. And then as we tape the show, you end the regular season on November 4th in Aberdeen, and then you host the postseason, which you've been got lucky enough again this year on November 10th and 11th here in La Crosse. Wow! Right now you're 26-1, the only loss to Rocky Mountain College in a Des Moines tournament. A silver lining to that loss, Coach?
Yeah, you never want to lose, obviously, but you learn a lot of things in losing it, and I think that's one of the things that we did is we learned some things. We learned some things about the process, what we need to do a little bit better, and I think that loss will serve us well as we continue to move on into the postseason and ultimately down at the national tournament. Sometimes
teams that do not suffer a little bit of a setback have a huge target on their back, and then the loss is catastrophic in postseason. Maya Roberts, a freshman from Watertown, very familiar with Watertown, and as I look at your resume, oh my gosh, you must have had lots of options to go on after high school, because All-State, National Honor Society class president, highest honor roll, AAU academic, and All-American. I mean, my gosh, you were certainly one of the gifts of Watertown athletics in high school.
Thank you.
I mean, you had some incredible opportunities, and those opportunities probably started when you were very young.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing volleyball since I was 12 years old, and so it's been a long process coming, starting at 12s and just getting into the sport. And what is volleyball? We hit the ball over the net, and then you get to 14s year, and you work your way up to 16s. You learn a little bit more, and then you start that recruiting process. And I was fortunate enough to be on a pretty big club team in Madison, and we were able to travel quite a few places around the country and got some looks from different colleges, and then ended up obviously being recruited by Coach DeLong here, and this is where I've ended up and through that whole process.
Go back down memory lane. Mm-hmm. Your parents recognize your gift as a volleyball player, your size, your athleticism, and so on, and your commitment. And so they get you in an elite program. Is that something that you wanted yourself to?
Yeah, actually both my parents don't have as much of an athletic background as you'd think. I guess they've got athletic genes because both my brother and I are athletic, but they weren't athletes themselves. So they didn't really have much knowledge of what to do with the recruiting and club teams to play on. So actually a lot of getting into volleyball came from the desire that I had to be a part of it, and then some friends that I had who were also in it, which kind of pulled me along and got me into the sport.
Some great experience as well. Backed by popular demand, Natalie Geidel, who was on the show in the past, and we talked a little bit about your resume, but in case you missed the show, your athleticism and accomplishments in high school were equally as good as Maya's. Mm-hmm. You had some defining moments, some great experiences. Share those.
Well, coming into college, I was pretty nervous, especially my first match when DeLong told me I was starting, and we were out in California and played at Biola University, and they were at the time, I think, in the top 5 in the nation. And just watching them warm up, I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to hang with these guys? But then after that first match, and I had actually contributed quite a bit during that match, and I realized, hey, I'm at the level that I need to be, and I can get better from here.
So your opportunities in high school really prepared you, and the transition was relatively easy.
Yeah, especially with my club team. I played for West Bend Power, and we played some pretty good competition. We were down in Great Lakes Power League, which is in the Aurora, Illinois area, with a bunch of huge, big-time sports and volleyball club teams down there. That really exposed me to competition that was similar to what we play now.
What's your interscholastic experience as an athlete, though, in West Bend? Was significant too. Talk about that before you actually got into some elite traveling teams.
Well, I was part of the National Honor Society at my high school, and so just being part of that really motivated me to keep working in academics and work really hard in the classroom and just do my best.
Well, and Natalie talked a little bit about her transition. Now, senior freshman. So you get recruited and you come here, and what about the transition from a high school player, you're only just fresh out of high school, to becoming a college athlete? Talk about that.
It's definitely a transition, especially as a freshman walking into a program that's as powerful as what we've got at Viterbo. We walked in and all of a sudden within the first few months we're ranked #1 in the nation, and that's quite a transition from just a high school athletics. We were kind of average, and so getting that or changing from one kind of extreme to the other, it comes with learning the mindset of being the best, and you always have that target on your back, and that's something that DeLong has taught us about, and how to be comfortable with that and play under that pressure, and so that's definitely adjustment. And then the speed of the game picks up, and you start to, when you're playing with the big dogs, with the higher level, the girls like Natalie, who have been here for 4 years and have a lot of experience, you start to pick up on the little things that they do, and then that actually ends up making your play better, I think. And so they kind of bring you along with them.
Now, we have 5 children who went on to college too, and I know lots of young people that have made that transition. Not all of them successful, though. Not all of them able to move away from home. And for you, it's 2.5, 3 hours away, and get absorbed in and are able to handle the change. How about you? Homesick? Challenged the first couple of weeks?
I was homesick for the first few weeks, and then we had one break, and I was able to go home. Got a little bit of taste of home, and I was like, you know what, how good I have it at college, I really don't miss home that much. So going back made me realize that. And then also just being on the volleyball program, and then once school started up and we've got so many things going, traveling all the time, working on schoolwork, you kind of run out of time to be homesick. So you don't really have a choice, and you're just kind of swept away with what's happening around you, and you don't have a choice to be homesick.
Ryan DeLong, again, the head coach, and today's guests, Maya Roberts, Natalie Geidel, and Coach Ryan DeLong, Viterbo VHawk, powerful volleyball program, nationally known. Maya talked a little bit about teaching them some lessons and so on, like getting the transition, helping with the transition. Now, Viterbo, as our viewers know, is all about servant leadership and teaching values and so on, and we'll come back to that. But as you bring freshmen in, what are some things that you talk to them about in terms of helping them overcome that transition?
Our covenants, that we talk a lot about is attitude, effort, communication, those things that we expect as athletes coming in, and ultimately when they leave our program, those are the things that we want them to be prepared for after college. So we talk a lot about expectations. We talk about the process and how important the process is to the success of our program on and off the court.
What's the process?
Well, the process is we got to do the little things along the way to reach our goal. We don't talk winning. as many people would think. That really never comes up in our conversation. We don't really talk national tournament. It's all about the process. How do we get better each day? Doing the little things mentally, physically, and if we do the process correct, good things are going to happen. We may win, we may lose, but if we do the process and we stay true to the process, that's success in our book.
Was there a process, Maya, at Watertown? Did your coach talk about the same kind of values?
I definitely think it's something that was brought up with trying to improve every practice and work to better ourselves, but it wasn't hammered home, I guess, as much as what DeLong does in the program here. And I think that it's a great mentality and a good mindset to have, especially when you're #1 in the nation. You've really got to focus on the process and rather than the wins and losses.
And of course, Natalie, as a senior, I mean, you know that process, you know those values, because you've heard them for 4 years.
Yeah, I have. He's drilled it home.
So if he's gone one day, you can actually take over and share the same kind of life lessons.
Yeah, I think everyone on the team pretty much can do that as well, just because he's told us from day one, like my freshman year, since the beginning of the season, that we have to work on the little things in practice and focus on that. And if we do that, then the success will come with it.
Yeah, well, success has come. And success on this show because we have sponsors. So hearing that, we're going to step aside just for a minute. When we come back, more on Vhawk Volleyball right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports again today. Vhawk Volleyball head coach Ryan DeLong, Maya Roberts, Natalie Geidel. Ryan DeLong, 13 years as a head coach, 5 times MCC Coach of the Year, record almost 400 wins. 400 wins and 127 losses. But probably more important than that is over 100 athletes, academic all-conference. That's a powerful part of that resume.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to recruit student athletes that are successful on the court and in the classroom, and I think that's some of the culture that we built here on and off the court that has been successful for us. And so I think the success on the court, obviously with the All-Americans and the wins and stuff, is great, and then obviously the success with the academics, all academic awards, and then obviously graduating, going on to successful careers. That's a huge success as well.
Now, this is just a guess, but I would say, in all probability, in your 13 years, 100% graduation?
Boy, I don't know. Pretty close. Pretty close.
Over 90, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, probably close to 100. But you talked about your success. Okay, 2 other components I want to talk about for your success. One, you've been able to gather around you some really good, competent, dedicated assistant coaches.
Yeah, and we've been together. Eric's been with our program for 12 years. Dave's been with our program for 4 years, and we've got Kelly Aspen helping out. It's great to have a team around the team, and we work together, on and off the court, and it's fun to go to work with your friends and know that they're, got the best interest in mind and loyal, and helps with the successful part of our program.
The other component to success is your Vhawk Volleyball Club and summer camps, where you have 2 sort of parts to that. 1, exposure to Viterbo, and 2, it's a huge arm in fundraising.
Yes, I mean, we pride ourselves, and one of our goals is to increase the volleyball in our area, and we have great community support. We're out in the community as much as we can, and with our volleyball program, our camps and our club, we provide a lot of volleyball for the youth, and then in turn, obviously, it's a big fundraiser for us that we can throw back into our program, into scholarships, go to trips like Europe that we just went to really provide an experience for our athletes that is like no other at our level.
I guess there wasn't any room for friends or broadcasters to go on that trip. I've been to Europe a few times refereeing, but next time I go, I just want to go and watch.
There you go.
I don't want to work, but so can you go every year, perhaps? Or?
Well, we're going in 3 years, so maybe, Terry, I can get you on there.
Oh, I'll put it on my calendar. 3 years in 2020.
Yep.
I hope I'm around in 2020. My Coach DeLong talked about academics, and we talked earlier on the first part of the show about you being dedicated to academics. Couple of questions. One, the transition academically for you, the workload, the time management, the credits, and your major, and where are you going to be a few years from now?
The transition has been pretty smooth so far. I actually was fortunate enough to have an opportunity in high school to attend a public charter school that was run through the Watertown School District, and through that I was really able to hone in on the time management skills, the thinking critically skills, research skills, which is a lot of the stuff that college requires, and so transferring those two, bringing them together and making the adjustment has been very smooth. And
I can see that in terms of your articulation, no question about it. And your major, business management, and minor in math, huh?
That's the plan for now. Of course, I'm a freshman, so that can definitely change. But I do enjoy the leading and management side of things and organization, and then as well as I don't mind speaking too much either. And so, so I hope to incorporate that into a career. I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet, but if I start studying, going that direction, hopefully the career will come.
Yeah, you do a good job. In fact, some people are probably thinking maybe she should take over the show. Which, not yet, but before too long.
A few years.
But Natalie, you're a veteran. I mean, you don't have to second guess and sit and ponder about what your major is or what your career is, because you're there.
Yep. Graduating in May.
In
nursing.
And then on to, well, you're already kind of working a little bit as a nurse, right?
Well, I've gotten experience in the nursing field because I'm a CNA back at home at the nursing home facility. So.
Mm-hmm. And so you're going to graduate in May, and there'll be a huge celebration. Your whole team, probably the whole university will be there because you're such a high-profile person.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, hopefully.
So then on, moving back to your hometown?
I mean, I thought about it, but I want to move to a bigger city, maybe Madison or the Twin Cities, where there's more opportunities with nursing. So,
in case you wondered, in the city we live in, there's a couple of major medical facilities. One is called
Gunderson and Mayo. Yeah, I've thought about that too. I forgot to include that.
Because I'm sure they would love to have you, and maybe there'll be a position as a unpaid assistant coach.
I can hook that up. I can hook that up.
Yeah.
I bet you could. Rapid fire drill. You ready? Hobbies. What kind of hobbies do you have when you're not studying and not playing sports?
I do like napping a lot because I don't have much time to really do much during the day. So, yeah, napping. I would say watching TV. I just took up painting this summer.
Really? So you're a good painter? Paint by numbers or what?
No. I just find something on Google Images that I like and just try to copy it. So.
Good. I have a couple granddaughters that are pretty good painters too. They're like 3 and 5 years old. So you're probably a little better than they are. But what's something people don't know about you that would be really interesting?
I can juggle.
Juggle like
just 3 things at once. I can't. I tried moving on to 4 and I can't.
Can you juggle 3 volleyballs at once?
Yes.
Really? Did she do that like pre-game or maybe halftime?
No, sometimes maybe in practice. I'll have her do it today in practice.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Good. And what's your philosophy of life? Something profound for our viewers.
I really try to go by never give up because you don't know what you can accomplish. And I've kind of had that concept throughout my whole life, just because you never know if there's something that you think that's impossible to reach or impossible to accomplish. You never know unless you try it.
You like Henry Ford too, don't you?
Yeah.
What does he say?
I don't know.
He says, "Oh, I know.
I'm the one who likes Henry Ford.
What does Henry Ford say?
Henry Ford has to say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Have you ever been where you think you can't and you couldn't do something and he was right and you were right because you didn't do it?
I try to avoid that area, but in high school I contemplated playing basketball along with doing volleyball and club volleyball, and I thought I couldn't, so I didn't end up going that route and playing other sports besides volleyball, but that is something that I do regret, and I should not have gone with that saying at that time. But there have been many times where I've gone with I can, and then that works out well.
Now you're busy studying and volleyball and so on, and hobbies for you?
I really enjoy baking, along with I really like canoeing and biking. So I think I'm in the right area for the canoeing and biking part of it.
I think you really are.
And then
kayaking.
Yes, that as well. But baking and cooking are definitely two things I really enjoy doing.
And of course, Viterbo, as we all know, is a huge religious component to it, and that's you too. And you have a saying that kind of depicts that.
Yeah, if God brings you to it, He can bring you through it. So
through it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had? Where's He brought you to it? Where it's like, oh my gosh, how can I make it? And then the spiritual intervention got you through it.
Well, I tend to think about this a lot when I'm going through school, like hard classes. Like my junior year was probably my toughest year academically I've ever had to go through. And I just kept thinking about that in my head. Well, He's bringing me to this for a reason, to be a better nurse. So if I just, work my best at, my nursing classes and, I pray to have God help me get through it, things will be okay, and that just gives me a little bit of comfort.
So you're deep. Who's the most famous nurse in the history of nursing?
Florence Nightingale.
That's exactly right. I knew her.
You did? Yeah.
She hasn't been around for a while, but
yeah, she's been gone.
She was the epitome. Well, she was a Mother Teresa of nursing, and in terms of passion and compassion and all those other things. Back to volleyball for a minute. What's ahead?
We wrap up our conference season here, and then we go on to, like you mentioned before, the conference tournament, and ultimately nationals at the end of November and December.
Now, in case you didn't miss the first part, one of the top volleyball programs in the country resides here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And if you have a chance, go on the website, but any information you want to share for our viewers so they get there on November 11th and 12th and watch, who are some possible teams?
We should see Jamestown and Bellevue, the other two top teams in our conference. There should be good games Friday night and championship at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And hopefully your V-Hawks are playing in it, and we have a big crowd that day.
Well, I'm confident the V-Hawks have been in there, but if you're really looking for something to do that weekend, you can watch volleyball, you can hang around, and you can watch men's basketball, you can hang around and watch women's basketball.
It's a busy day at Viterbo that weekend.
It's funny how I know that. Because I'm going to be there.
You will.
On both those days, and it's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope you enjoyed the show. So, again, our guests, Ryan DeLong, Maya Roberts, and Natalie Geidel. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thanks, Terry.
All right.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's show. If you have a thought on a guest or a topic, don't hesitate to contact us here at the studio. We are currently assembling our schedule of both boys and girls high school basketball games for the 17-18 season. So check our weekly listing for times on those games. Until next week, I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you have an active and a healthy week ahead.